Inventory management, masters, units. Addition of new measurement units are possible here, apart from the default units provided. Item card. You can add and update item details here, and can set item type, item picture, unit of item, equivalent item, supplier code, and supplier name. If you want to add sub-item support, enable this. We can also add inward-outward tax groups. If having any equivalent item, add here. Supplier code. If you want to hold the items from sale, enable this. Here we can set the ID tags for the items. And can manage units. Sales areas. Addition of new sales areas are possible here. Warehouse. There are two default warehouses provided. If you want to add new warehouse, when you enable the sub-warehouse support, you can add sub-warehouses under this. Suppliers. You can add and update new supplier informations here. Give the below details like post box, city, address, email, reference number, credit days, security amount, account code, discount percentage, credit limit, etc., and then save it. Customers. You can add and update new customer details here. Give the below details like post box, city, address, email, reference numbers, security amount, discount limit, discount on payment, account code, salesman code, tax ID, etc., then save it. Salesman. Addition, updation and deletion of salesmans are possible here. Give the salesman name, pending bills, credit limit, credit days, warehouse name, warehouse code, sales target, commission on target, and give the below details, then save it. Sales collectors. Here we can add and update new sales collector details. Leave the collector name, post box, address, reference numbers, security amount, commission percentage, account code, etc. Then save it. Sales groups. In this option, we can add new sales groups contains more than one item. We can add an image. Then here we can add the items. Opening stock. Here we can show the opening stock of an item, balance as on the starting fiscal period, and by selecting the warehouse which we want to show the opening stock. Opening stock file. Here we can update by attaching the opening stock file report of a warehouse. Here we can choose the file, then save it. Stock level. In this option, we can show the stock level of a particular item in a warehouse. Stock location. In this option, we can add the location of the items. Here we can add the location, then save it. Revised selling price. Here we can update the revised selling price of a particular item or item under a specified code. Here we can select the type of revised selling price, and can apply the revised price based on cost price, average cost, or sales price. We can change price increasing or decreasing, add round off in price by enabling it. Inward-outward tax groups. We can set the inward-outward tax group for all items or a particular item. Purchase quotation. In this option, we can add, update and delete purchase quotations. For that, give the below details like supplier code, address, reference number, date, tax ID, date valid up to, and warehouse. Then add item, then save it. Purchase order. New entries and updation of purchase orders are possible in this option. Give the below details. Can select the process type and can search the document number. Then add item. GRR or Goods Received Receipt. The option is to add and update the goods received receipt in purchase. Purchase invoice. Here we can add and update purchase invoices. Give the below details. Purchase invoice adjustment. We can update the invoice adjustment in purchase in this option. Search the invoice number, then click Load to see the invoice details. We can make any invoice adjustment here. Purchase returns. Addition of new purchase returns are possible in this option. Multiple purchase returns. Here we can add multiple entries of purchase returns. Here we can add the purchase invoice, and here the invoice details, then save it. Payment on credit purchase. Here we can add new payment on credit purchase. Supplier code, amount paid, payment mode, paid by, payment date, etc., and give the invoice details. Sales quotation. Here we can add and update the sales quotations. Give the below details. Add item. Then save it. Sales order. Here we can add and update the sales order. Save it. Goods delivery note. In this option, we can add the goods delivery note in sales. Save it. Sales invoice. Here we can add and update new sales invoices. Here we can show the last sales price, show cost price, quantity in hand. Save it. Give the debit account. Sales written. Here we can add the informations of written in sales. Multiple sales written. Multiple sales written entries are possible in this option. We can add the sales invoice here and the invoice details, then save it. Sales collection. Here we can add the collection details by the collector. Give the amount collected. give the customer code, collector code, amount collected, collected mode, etc., and the invoice details here. Then save it. Production, Masters, Production Master. We can add and update production in inventory here in this module. Production finished goods. Here we can update the details of the finished goods in production. Production raw materials. We can update the details of the raw materials in production. Production supporting items. Here we can update the details of the supporting items in production. Production expenses. In this option, we can update the details of the expenses in production. Production wastes. Here we can update the details of the waste while in the production. Production costing. In this option, we can show the production cost. Process. Production process. Here we can add new production process details. Also can add employee, batch or series of raw material, and can check the stock here. Then can process it. Production accrued setup. Here we can update the setup of accrued production. Others, stock transfer request. This option is used for requesting to transfer the stock from one warehouse to another. Stock transfer. In this option, we can add and update the stock transfer from one warehouse to another. Stoke Adjustment. We can adjust the stock using this option by adding the items and adjusting it here. Stock internal use. Here we can add the stock of items in internal use by adding the list of items below. Damaged stock. Can add and collect the details of the damaged goods here. Stoke Adjustment data entry. Data entry of stock adjustment is possible by attaching the file for Start New Stock or Append to Stock. Can attach the file here or can adjust to stock. Zero stock value adjustment. We can adjust the zero stock value here. By giving the available items list here, we can select the item to be processed. We can adjust the zero stock value here. Reports, Inventory, Price List. Here you can show the price list of items. You can select the item type, or can search by item code or name, and can enable the options given below that you need. Current stock in multiple units. Here we can show the reports of the current stock in multiple units of a particular warehouse, or can select an item. Current stock report. Here we can show the current stock report of items in inventory. Stock in hand on a date. In this option, we can show the reports of the stock in hand on a specific date of a particular warehouse or a particular item. Stock ledger. Here we can show the stock ledger report of a particular warehouse or in a period, stock movement or transfer type. Item stock flowchart. In this option, we can show the report as item stock flowchart. Give the details, then click Show. Inventory transaction summary. In this option, we can show the report of inventory transaction summary. We can show the report of a particular warehouse or a time period and can specify transaction for reporting by selecting all, or can enable the options given here as per your requirement, or of a particular item, then click Show. Cost calculation chart. Here we can show the report as cost calculation chart. Can search by item and can give the time period. Then click Show. Stock maintenance level report. In this option, we can show the maintenance level report of stock of a warehouse or by item. Supplier listing report. Here we can show the supplier listing report by enabling the option supplier and give the supplier code, or by giving the credit limit or credit days. You can enable the option if you want to show it. Customer listing report. Here we can take the list of customer details as report. Salesman listing report. Here we can take the reports of Salesman as a list. You can enable the options given below if you want to show it. Item inward outward tax listing. Here we can show the report of inward outward tax as a list. Item location listing. Here we can take the reports of the location of items as a list. Item Ids Listing. Here we can show the list of items on the basis of IDs, or search by all IDs or a particular ID. Select the ID name, then click Show. Opening stock report. Here we can show the opening stock reports of items. Current stock in warehouses. We can show the current stock in warehouses by selecting a particular item or by selecting a warehouse. Purchase reports. Purchase quotation listing. We can show the reports of purchase quotation listing here on the basis of quotation number or based on date or by enabling supplier or by warehouse. Purchase quotation item listing. Here we can show the purchase quotation item listing as report. Reports based on item, supplier or warehouse. You can take various types of reports as per your requirement. Purchase quotation pending listing. We can show the purchase quotation pending list on the basis of item, supplier or warehouse. Purchase order listing. Here we can show the reports of the purchase order as list. We can show the reports based on orders or based on date and can enable the given options supplier and warehouse. Purchase order item listing. Purchase order pending list. Goods received receipt listing or GRR listing. We can take the reports on the basis of GRR number or based on date and can enable the options given below: supplier, warehouse, salesman and reference number. GRR item listing. Here we can show the goods received receipt item listing. GRR pending item listing. Here we can show the GRR pending item listing. Enable the details you need and then click Show. Purchase invoice listing. By enabling this, you can get the report based on invoices or based on date. You can select the payment mode and then click Show. Purchase item listing. Here we can show the reports of the purchased item listing. You can enable the options that you need as reports. Credit invoice pending list. In this option, you can take the credit invoice pending list as reports. Credit payment listing. Here we can show the credit payment reports as list. Purchase return listing. Here we can show the purchase return listings as reports. You can take the reports based on documents or based on date. Purchase invoice aging. Here we can take the report of purchase invoice aging as on a date and can select the report type. Also can select the report based on supplier or warehouse or based on a particular customer and can arrange the range of days. Sales reports. Sales quotation listing. In this option, we can take the sales quotation reports as a list based on quotation number or based on date. You can enable the below given options if you want to take the details based on them. Sales quotation item listing. In this option, we can take the reports of the sales quotation of an item. Sales quotation pending listing. In this option, we can take the reports of the pending sales quotations as list. Sales order listing. In this option, we can take the reports of sales order as a list based on orders or based on date. We can enable the options given below to take the reports. Sales order item listing. Here we can take the reports of sales order of an item. Sales order pending list. Here we can take the reports of the sales order which are pending as a list. You can enable any of the option to get the report as per your requirement. Goods delivery note. In this option, we can take the reports of goods delivery note based on document number, on date, and can enable the options given below to get the reports. Goods delivery note item listing. In this option, we can take the reports of the goods delivery note of an item. Goods delivery non-invoiced listing. In this option, we can take the reports of goods delivery which are non-invoiced as list. Sales invoice summary. Here we can take the sales invoice report as a summary. You can enable the options to show them separately. Sales invoice listing. Here we can take the reports of the sales invoice as list based on invoices, date, and can enable the options given below to show the reports of particular customer, particular warehouse, salesman, and sales areas, and can enable the options given below if you want to show it in the report. Sales item listing. Here we can take the sales report of an item. Credit invoice pending list. We can take the credit invoice pending list here. Credit collection listing. Here we can take the report of credit collection as list based on collection number or based on dates, and can enable the customer and the sales collector Sales Return Listing. In this option, we can take the reports of return in sales. Sales Monthly Analysis. Here we can analyze the sales monthly based on customer, salesman and warehouse. Can enable the given options. Customer Access Credit List. In this option, we can show the access credit list of customers. Salesman Commission. Here we can take the report of salesman commission and can calculate commission on total receipts or net sales. Sales Moving, Non-Moving Items. Here we can show the reports of the non-moving and moving items as list. Can select the report type non-moving, moving or less moving. Can take reports based on quantity or amount. Sales Invoice Aging. In this option, we can take the reports of sales invoice aging as on date and can select the report type and report based on customer or salesman. Here we can arrange the range in days. Sales Reports. Sales Quotation Listing. In this option, we can take the sales quotation reports as a list based on quotation number or based on date. You can enable the below given options if you want to take the details based on them. Sales Quotation Item Listing. In this option, we can take the reports of the sales quotation of an item. Sales Quotation Pending Listing. In this option, we can take the reports of the pending sales quotations as list. Sales Order Listing. In this option, we can take the reports of sales order as a list based on orders or based on date. We can enable the options given below to take the reports. Sales Order Item Listing. Here we can take the reports of sales order of an item. Sales order pending list. Here we can take the reports of the sales order which are pending as a list. You can enable any of the option to get the report as per your requirement. Goods delivery note. In this option, we can take the reports of goods delivery note based on document number, on date, and can enable the options given below to get the reports. Goods delivery note item listing. In this option, we can take the reports of the goods delivery note of an item. Goods delivery non-invoiced listing. In this option, we can take the reports of goods delivery which are non-invoiced as list. Sales invoice summary. Here we can take the sales invoice report as a summary. You can enable the options to show them separately. Sales invoice listing. Here we can take the reports of the sales invoice as list based on invoices, date, and can enable the options given below to show the reports of particular customer, particular warehouse, salesman, and sales areas. And can enable the options given below if you want to show it in the report. Sales item listing. Here we can take the sales report of an item. Credit invoice pending list. We can take the credit invoice pending list here. Credit collection listing. Here we can take the report of credit collection as list based on collection number or based on dates, and can enable the customer and the sales collector. Sales Return Listing. In this option, we can take the reports of return in sales. Sales Monthly Analysis. Here we can analyze the sales monthly based on customer, salesman and warehouse. Can enable the given options. Customer Access Credit List. In this option, we can show the access credit list of customers. Salesman Commission. Here we can take the report of salesman commission and can calculate commission on total receipts or net sales. Sales Moving, Non-Moving Items. Here we can show the reports of the non-moving and moving items as list. Can select the report type non-moving, moving or less moving. Can take reports based on quantity or amount. Sales Invoice Aging. In this option, we can take the reports of sales invoice aging as on date and can select the report type and report based on customer or salesman. Here we can arrange the range in days. Others. Stock Transfer Listing. In this option, we can show the reports of the stock transfer from one warehouse to another, based on documents or based on date. Here we can add the warehouse, Stock Internal Use Listing. In this option, we can show the stock internal use reports as a list based on documents or based on date. Here we can select the warehouse and then click Show. Damaged Stock Listing. Here we can show the reports of stocks that are damaged as a list. Give the details and then click Show. Production. Production Process Stock Report. Here we can show the stock report of the production process in inventory. Batches. Item Batch Report. In this option, we can show the item batch reports of a particular batch movement or the item batches, or can search the report of a particular item, or by selecting a particular supplier, or can show items that are inward batches or outward, and can show the item report based on date or by a particular warehouse. Item expiry report. In this option, we can show the expiry reports of items. First option, show items. Here you can enable the options that you need and can search by expiry date, and also can enable manufacture date. Serial batch report. Here we can show the batch report of items based on serial numbers. GST tax reports. Here we can show the tax claim report by selecting a particular warehouse. Here we can show the tax claim item reports and tax assessment report. Setup. Change strings. In this option we can update the strings. Here we can change the strings of ID. Purchase posting setup and sales posting setup. Inventory code setup. Here we can change and update the inventory code setup only when the item cart master is empty. Global setup. Here you can update and enable options given below. For adding these options for the inventory these options to inventory module for processing the inventory transactions and reportings. Inventory posting setup. Here we can update the inventory posting setup and can give account codes for the descriptions given below. And then save it. Purchase posting setup. Here we can update the purchase posting setup in inventory by adding a warehouse, and can select the payment type. Also can add account code for the descriptions given below. Sales posting setup. Here we can update the sales posting setup. Starting number setup. In this option we can update the starting number setup, can enable as auto numbering, or can change as you desire. Notification setup. In this option we can update the notification setup, that we can activate or deactivate the given options, and can update the notification days period as per your requirement. Print setup. Here we can update the print setup and can enable the options given below that you want to print in the report. Sales credit limit permission. In this option, we can add new sales credit limit permission. Give the below details approved by sales credit limit or discount permission allowed to customer or salesman. If customer, then give the customer code, or salesman, then give the salesman code, and then period option, date, and then save it. Report setup. Here we can update the report setup in inventory. Can select the report type that you want to update the report setup. Then you can update the structure of the report. If you want to add new column title, then add new. Reorder columns, generate fresh view, load saved view, etc. are other options provided. Warehouse code setup. In this option, we can update the warehouse code setup and only can update if the warehouses are empty. Barcode. Barcode label setup. In this option, we can add and update the barcode label setup. Give the barcode name and then barcode label setup. We can give the width, height, and font here. Here we can see the barcode label format. Barcode label printing. Here we can set up the barcode label printing. Give the barcode label code, then can add new item here and purchase invoice too. Click here to print the barcode label. Stock batch. Stock batch in Word. Here we can show the reports of the stock batch that are in Word. Stock batch outward. Here we can show stock batch that are outward as a report. Remove expired stock. Here we can add and update the expired stock details and can remove it from the warehouse.